Good afternoon. Thank you, Frank, and welcome everyone. My name is Deena Brecher, and I'm the Scholar in Residence for the Thrive RU program at Ryerson. And it is a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon.
What a delight. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Wayne. I'm Dr. Deena Shaffer. I'm the coordinator of student transitions and retention, formerly with Student Affairs, now within Student Wellbeing. And what a joy. Thank you for hosting us today. So what frames our presentation around coping during this time of COVID, and all that's uncertain and out of our control given the current context? What can we do to bring more health and hope to our days? That's really what's going to guide us today. We offer the following strategies, not as rigid to-dos. There's nothing prescriptive here. We're not offering them as should be doing this or that. It's not glib advice, but rather to support you in both uplifting and grounding your days to help you thrive, even if a little bit more while at home.
I want to talk about service and what does service mean in the context of our lives today. Maybe it means what we can do to support others. So Sonia Lubomirsky, who's a researcher in the field of positive psychology, suggests that scientific research has provided evidence that practicing acts of kindness is not only good for the recipient, but it's also good for the doer. And there's lots of research on that. And so this is an invitation really to consider what kinds of acts of kindness are within range for you right now. And it could be something as simple as helping a neighbor with something or surprising a friend with a thoughtful link. I've been walking in my neighborhood every day, and it's not a really friendly neighborhood typically, but people are beginning to smile at each other. And I've lived here for years and it's never happened before. It's really quite lovely. What about meeting somebody else's frustration or impatience with compassion for them? Maybe you're living with someone who's really struggling with all of the constraints of this reality. That could make a huge difference just to send them good energy. Supporting healthcare providers with the 7:30 banging of pots and pans. Lots of neighborhoods are doing that. It's a really beautiful thing to do. Doing a kind deed and don't tell anyone else about it seems to have, based on the research, lots of positive impact for the doer. Or even participating in the #kindness challenge. Those are just things to think about rather than just surviving. What could you do to be really generous of spirit? And really pose to yourself the question, how did I help someone today at the end of the day? Can you make that a daily goal of looking for an opportunity to be of service, which gives for each of us a sense of purpose and meaning that's really quite intangible but lovely and invigorating.
The question of how did I help someone today is something that we've started asking at our dinner table each night. In addition to the gratitude practice, we've really tried to make that an effort. And when our kids notice that perhaps they haven't, they'll be the first to chime in and say, tomorrow I want to be more helpful. So it's become incorporated into our family life. So in addition to service, we want to talk about simplicity. How can we practice simplicity? And what can it do for us? So some of you may have seen this triangle breath, and let's see if it's going to pop back up for us. Great. So this is a beautiful one. Let's just go back there. This can be a beautiful practice where the inhales are the same length as our exhales. And if folks feel like they need some guidance, this offers visual cueing. So when it expands, we can begin together to inhale. We can feel our ribs expanding, and now the exhale. And if that moves too quickly or too slowly, you can always close your eyes. And really the principle here is, can we even out our breath so that our inhales match our exhales? This is a great place to begin if breath work isn't in your repertoire, it isn't part of your toolbox yet. But when we think about simplistic, really essential, foundational, ready at hand strategies to intervene on behalf of our own stress overwhelm and worry, there is no more basic tool that we have than the breath. And again, stimulates the parasympathetic system and really grounds us and brings us back into the here and now. Now this one takes a different tack. So we'll begin now at the bottom where we inhale for a count of 4. We'll watch it just for a moment, and then we can start together. This is called square or box breathing. So we'll begin now. Inhale for count of 4. Hold that breath. You can follow the cueing. We're going to exhale now for a count of 4. Hold that breath again for a count of 4. And we go again, inhale for a count of 4. And it goes around in a square or box. Now this is useful for many reasons. Again, it has that calming and grounding and parasympathetic nervous system stimulation. But it also gives us something to focus on. And you know, one of the questions we posed earlier, what if I find it hard to concentrate? Which I think many of us are struggling with. There's lots of things on our plate, competing demands. This can be an intervention that you practice to bring yourself back into single-mindedness, to the task at hand right here. It gives us a count. It gives us something visual if we want to look. And that can really turn back on our focus. Now, those you can practice the triangle or the box breathing. You can practice them with or without screens. If they're new for you, it can be helpful to have those pictures to guide. Now, here are 3 additional screen-free practices within this simplicity offering. The first is 5-finger breathing. So if everyone wanted to join me right now in lifting their left hand, and if you took your index finger of your right hand, and what we can do is begin at the base of the thumb on our left hand, and on an inhale we'll trace up our thumb. On an exhale we'll trace back down. On an inhale, trace our index finger of our left hand. Exhale, we'll trace back down. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So we can keep doing that, and then we can actually switch hands with our breath. So why is this helpful? One is it's ready at hand. It's not contingent upon something outside of yourself or somebody else's availability or timing. It doesn't require bandwidth or any technological functioning. So it's ready at hand. It's also tactile, so it brings us back into the body if we're feeling quite stressed. Now for some, right now, focusing on our breath might just feel like one thing too much. I can't feel my breath, or just focusing on my breath feels anxiety provoking, or sure, I can do it for a split second and then my mind is on the to-do lists. If that's the case, a really simple alternative can be, if we sit up straight right now, all of us, and we bring kind of dignity to our posture, we can focus on feeling our feet. Now, again, similar to the 5-finger breathing, is we're turning the point of focus to the physicality of the feet. So what that will mean is we can feel pressure and sensation. We can feel weight. We can do this standing or sitting. And in this way is really quite a literal practice of grounding. There is no more grounding place on our body. Now, for students who might be experiencing slightly more worry, that's hard to break through and get to the task at hand, we can practice something called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so if we notice that our breath is racing, our heart's racing a little bit, and we're trying to figure out, gosh, I've got 5 upcoming essays or exams and I'm not quite sure, or I'm finding online learning hour after hour really difficult, or I'm trying to care for someone I love, or I'm not even sure where the grocery delivery is going to come. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 can be a way to get back into the body again. So with that, you notice 5 things that you can see. So you might look around the space where you are and identify. So now we're outside of our thinking. We're not ruminating. We're quite literally in the seeing world. Next are 4 things you can feel. So, okay, I can feel the desk where I am. I can feel the seat underneath my legs. 3 things that you can hear, and we're quite fortunate. Now is a time of birdsong. We open our windows. 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So again, we're transitioning from the worry outside of ourselves and rumination up here into the physical and sensation world. And stillness.
So for some of us, this is an opportunity to really deepen our meditation practice or engage more in prayer or just contemplation. For other people, maybe you've never done that. But as Deena is going to tell you in a moment, what if it's hard to concentrate? There are other options.
Yeah, so, if meditation or if getting back into or deepening a prayer practice that you might have, or contemplative practice like walking meditation or contemplative reading, where you're reading not to just absorb information, but to savor the language, a poem, a koan. We might be really interested in engaging in those, but find it very difficult, again, to be in the moment, present to whatever task we're reading. So how do we use the body and sensory experience to get us back? So one thing you can try is a finger trick. So let's all do that together. If we all raised our right hand, we're all going to raise our right hand. I'm not going to quite be a mirror. I'm going to do it with my right hand too. So if we touched our index finger to our thumb, and then our middle finger to our thumb, our ring finger to our thumb, and then our pinky finger to our thumb, we lowered our right hand and put up our left hand. Again, I'm not going to be an exact mirror. I'm doing it opposite to you as it looks like. So index finger to thumb, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. We lower our left hand. We raise our right hand again. Try pinky finger to thumb, ring. We're doing it now reverse, you see? Middle and index. Let's try that on our left hand. Pinky, ring, middle, index. Now we raise both of our hands. On our right hand, we're going to use our index finger to our thumb. On our left hand, we'll do our pinky to our thumb. Now let's go at the same time, but in like contrary motion. So we're flipping it, you see? We're going back and forth. So, and now can you speed it up? Now I'm already messed up. So what this does is it crosses the hemispheres of our brains, brings us right back in, gives us a kind of dose of focus. So, and it gives us a dose of uplift. What a silly, funny thing. The other thing you can do if you're finding it quite tricky, and we know about them through really interesting learning science and imaging of the brain, using sound and sensation. So if you just wanted to snap, if you were trying to get through a reading, or you were preparing a presentation for a meeting for the professional staff and faculty who are joining us, 50 snaps. So can you all right now snap 50 times? I'm not going to really do it for 50 times because I don't want to run out of time, but you'll see by the end of 50, fingers will be tired, but are you more in the present moment? You'll also see that Diane and I have brought in a number of guided meditations and visualizations, because perhaps the case is that yes, meditation, prayer, contemplation is exactly what you feel like you intend to immerse in, but with concentration you find it difficult. Great, let someone else be your guide. This is certainly not an exhaustive list, but perhaps it's a good place to start.